The Agoris are one of the principal Indian traditions, and the most extreme and fascinating form of the Tantra, Dattatreya, a divinity that includes the Trimurti Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, are considered to be the founder of this school. The Sanskrit term Agora is the combination among two words and has various meanings. A is a negation, Agora is the obscurity of the ignorance. But it also means intense, deep. Agora therefore means light, absence of obscurity, awareness. But it also symbolizes a style of life where a person of the Agori tradition doesn't have intense or deep feelings. It doesn't make difference among the various feelings, seems to be indifferent to the various stories of the life. Agori, at the left hand of God, is Agora. This is the spiritual discipline that takes Tantra to its farthest limits. He defined an Agori in this way. An Agori is beyond the bounds of the earthly realm. Agoris are simple beings or beings who live with complete simplicity. Today, we have complicated religion to a very large extent. We perform rituals, ceremonies and practice techniques in a roundabout way to achieve health and wealth. But I tell you, religion is not meant just for health and wellness. Its main purpose is to help you break your negative mental patterns and achieve the ultimate. Health and wellness should only be a byproduct. Agoras directly work on breaking these patterns and simplifying religion. They don't do things in a roundabout way. Agoras are not dream sellers. Anybody who sells you a technique and asks you to go on practicing it, assuring you that one day God will give you enlightenment, is a dream seller. I always tell people to work with unclutching for just 10 days. If it works, it works. Otherwise, forget about it. In 10 days itself, you will see a major breakthrough. When you experience the breakthrough, you are growing. If you tell an Agori that God is all-powerful, and if you pray to him he will come and bless you, he will simply laugh at you. Like I said, Agoris are not dream sellers. The nature of Agoris can often seem like nightmares. They are embodiments of Lord Shiva walking on the planet, trying to wake people up. If you are too attached to life, then even the very sight of an Agori will frighten you. Today, I see how people have lost connection with simplicity. Everything is seen with perversion. Agoris are a tradition who are straightforward and simple. They are the embodiment of simplicity. Their way of thinking is beautiful, simple, innocent and straightforward. The attitude of an Agori. An Agori will directly work on his patterns. If an Agori carries hatred towards something, he will eat what he hates. If he has any violence in him, he will learn to love that violence in order to let go of it. If he loves something and thinks it's binding him, he will immediately throw it away. They don't believe in gradual liberation by letting go of an object mentally, but keeping it with them physically. They let go of everything they like and expose all their 5 senses to what they hate. If an Agori has a blockage in his heart, then he will open his heart, clear the blockage, and then stitch it back. They don't even bother taking anesthesia. And yet, they know exactly how to treat the blockage. They go into the depths of fear and face it, to the depths of hatred and let go of it, to the depths of suffering and come out of it, to the depths of pain and go beyond it. When an Agori can't wake up in the morning, he simply stops sleeping. They do not postpone things. This is the attitude of an Agori. Agoris believe that every person's soul is Shiva, but is covered by Amahapasa, 8 great nooses or bonds, including sensual pleasure, anger, greed, obsession, fear and hatred. The practices of the Agoris are centered around the removal of these bonds. Agoris is seen by the world. No other Sampradaya, tradition, expressed as many extraordinary experiences and strong enlightenment experiences as Agoris did. Agoris are often projected as India's wrong side by many people, or the side that needs to be covered up. As the only Agori who is in the world's most influential 100 gurus, who is courageously boldly associating himself with Agori Sampradaya, I tell you, Agoris are the pride of India. They are the pride of Vedic tradition. In reality, humans are hypnotized by the concept of conscious, subconscious and all this nonsense. Human civilization has already made you believe something before you actually tried it. When you have so much dirt inside, how do you expect to sit peacefully? Agori Sampradaya can flourish only in a civilization where this nonsense of unconscious and subconscious is not taught. You are an integrated individual. What you want, you achieve, that's all. This is the basis of the Agori Sampradaya. Unfortunately, humanity is not at this zone. I still cannot understand when somebody says, "Oh, I want to do it, however, I cannot do it." That word is the enemy of Agori Sampradaya. The Mahavakaya, Great Declaration, of Agori Sampradaya, is simply do it. If you go to an Agori and tell him how much you fear death, he will simply ask you to go through the death experience itself. But Agoris never ever interfere in others' life, never cherish enmity or hatred towards anybody. However, they are compassionate people, born of left-handed path, and are practitioners. They descend towards union with the divine to obtain godhood status, with godlike powers of their own, having reunited with the ultimate divine source energy. Then once there, taking one more step separating from that divinity, out of this creation into a new creation of their own making, with themselves as the sole divinity of the new universe, apart from the previous creation. An Agori holy man sits vigil on a hill overlooking the Ganges River, a disciple of a reclusive Hindu sect known for consuming human flesh. He waits patiently for a corpse to appear in the river like all members of this pious, mystical order. He believes that consuming the remains of the dead will guarantee him immortality, liberation, moksha. From the material world he believes it is a direct pathway to God. After centuries in virtual seclusion, only occasionally glimpsed wandering naked through the Indian countryside, members of the highly secretive Agori spiritual sect are being seen with greater frequency in sacred cities like Varanasi. Though long considered pariah for such common behaviors as eating meat and drinking liquor, which most traditional Hindus denounce, it is their continued practice of eating human flesh that has earned them the status among modern Hindus of less than human, nothing more than primitive scavengers to be loathed. And though they trace their beliefs to a 1,000-year-old cult known as the Gorak Pant Fakirs, the Agori are not even accepted as true Hindus. From the Western perspective, well, Hinduism is best understood as a family of related beliefs forming a common system of principles and practices. Like many belief systems around the world, these beliefs focus largely on death and the afterlife. But unlike many, Hindus believe that life is simply a transition among previous, present and future existences, and that after the physical body expires the soul can take a number of different pathways, all dependent on the practice of certain rituals, honorable acts, prayer and meditation over many lifetimes. The Agori, however, believe that eating the dead allows them to skip the tediousness of repeated lifetimes, of ritual acts and responsibilities, perhaps because in doing so, they take advantage of someone else's having done so, and jump right on a direct pathway to God in a single lifetime. They are just diverted follower after attaining some kind of spiritual power. He has described that a true Agori never show his/her spiritual power openly, but uses it very secretly towards human welfare in a very simple method. Bhagwan Ram said that Agora is not the name of danger, but the name of purification, and having the nature of most kind human being with all powers of this universe. Agori is not found everywhere, but once in billions, an Agori having all powers of this whole universe regarding creation or destruction. He or she is the supreme authority of this whole universe. Agora is the highest stage of spirituality, and only once in a billion can achieve the stage of become an Agori. Agora is also a path, sadhana within Tantrism. I would say that we could simply define an Agori as the one who follows the path of the Agora, a path of evolution and spiritual realization that starts from the most animalistic, grossest, and uncultivated aspects of the human being and stage after stage, evolves into what can be called a liberated soul. From Pashu, animal, to Vira, hero, to divine, to Bala, child, Unmata, crazy, Pishicha spirit, and Avathat synonymous with ascetic, renunciate, of one who has gone beyond one's feelings and worldly obligations, which went beyond all that is pure or impure, beyond all duality and differentiation. The Avadhat is the one who sees the one in everything. The procedures of these sadhanas are secret, gupta, and personal, handed down only from guru to disciple. Without the loving guidance of the guru, they can become very dangerous for one's mental health. In Vimachara Tantra we walk a razor's edge. It is a direct and straight path, but a small mistake can prove to be fatal. It is said that Agoras drink liqueurs, smoke ganja, eat meat, in some rites also human meat. They use a human skull as a bowl. They wander among the funeral pyres, meditate at night, and don't have any sex inhibition. This path seems to be detached completely from Hinduist philosophies, and it deceives the true nature of this little-known reality in the Indian sadhus, ascetics, panorama. The ritual practices of the Agori are symbols of their non-dualistic beliefs. The corpse upon which they meditate is a symbol of their own body and transcendence of the lower self and realization of the Supreme Self. They are also known for their knowledge of magic arts. Many people believe they own magic powers, and it is not difficult to hear histories of miraculous recoveries. Among the people, the word Agori always arouses a mixture between respect and suspect. Anyway, they also have many devotees among the various religions present in India. Together with an Agori you can easily find Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, Jains, Christians or other. In reality, when we are together with these sadhus seems to be in front of a mystical crazy person. Given the label, the fool, of the tarots, all the rational thoughts seem to fade away for leaving place to an intense spiritual experience. Over every duality is dichotomy, death's theme, so recurrent among the holy men. Agoras constantly remembers us on mortality, but it is also a challenge to transcend the duality between life and death. Breaking every mental scheme, going over every taboo makes aware of the illusion of this world, and becomes a path toward the liberation, moksha, the realization of the itself with the Absolute One. Also the conventional Hindu distinction among pure and impure for the Agoras is an illusion the site proposes to spread and to let know the Agori culture too often misunderstood and stigmatized as one dark sect. It doesn't absolutely want to make proselytism in accord with the conviction that any religion is pure illusion, fruit of mental conjectures, and that in some it estranges the man from the native spiritual message. One's life story full of miraculous incidents where he acted on behalf of the poor and the oppressed as well as women without worrying about the consequences. Remaining unattached to the predominant religious traditions and taboos of the time, he taught the importance of venerating one's own inner truth. He sought to protect society from aggressors and infused confidence and strength in the helpless and the destitute. Exploring the rationale. As is with every cult, these sadhus also have a motive for their practices, which is in a lot of ways inconsistent with the beliefs of the rest of the Hindus. While the vast pool believes in and worships the innumerable gods present in the Hindu mythology, the Agoras believe that Shiva is everything and everything is Shiva, that every other god is but a manifestation of the one god. They mainly worship Bhairava, form of Shiva associated with life and death. Their divergence from the standard Hindu worship rituals does not end here. Agoras seek spiritual enlightenment and upliftment and do not practice idol worship, relying instead on meditation and a combination of alcohol and marijuana, now infamously and rhetorically known as Baba Ka Prasad, to practice greater concentration. They claim that the use of recreational drugs transports them to a different spiritual level, which is one step closer to God. The purpose of incorporating these polluting and corrupting practices through their various customs is the realization and embracement of non-individuality.